Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns. I'm your host, Josh Pies, the chief attention getter and hippie capitalist at C47 Digital Studios. This show is an exploration of entrepreneurship because it's important to hear people's inspirational stories of where they were and where they're going and how they've gotten to where they are. But even more important is to glean all those tactical, actionable data points that we can use on our own journeys as we grow our businesses and we can say, yes, we bootstrapped to become a unicorn. Bootstrapped Unicorns, welcome back. It's Josh, the host. You know me, I know you, and I'm glad you're here. So, hey, look, today we're going to have a conversation, and it's about real estate. You're an entrepreneur and you went, buy land. They ain't making it anymore. I should probably do that. And so you've told yourself a story that maybe you should invest in some real estate and maybe you should do it, or maybe you tried. Maybe you're doing it well. In all three cases, you can learn something from our guest today, Nicole. She is in the real estate game for herself, but she wasn't always there. And I'm really interested about that start point. So we're going to get into it a little bit. Before we do, I should remind you that we are a sponsored show. And so if you haven't seen in some previous episodes that sexy looking Viking motorcycle bag that I swing around here, yeah, they're one of our sponsors, and I'm proud to rep the Viking motorcycle backpack product. As you know, I don't ride, but I look good pretending that I do. It's a durable bag. I like it a lot. And also, Hire VP, we wouldn't even be a show without the awesome people at Hire VP. They help us get our virtual assistants, who are known as virtual professionals around here. They're fully integrated and part of our team and part of our family. So if you want that for your business so you can grow and grow well, Hire VP, there are people. Go to Bootstrapped Unicorn. Actually, don't even hit us up. Go to hirevp.us/unicorns. That's where you're going to get a discount on your first engagement with them. And let Scott and Chloe and the whole team know that we sent you and we said hi. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Nicole Cooper. Nicole comes from the great state of New York, I believe. Yes, Nicole?
Yes, sir.
All right. And she's up there in New York doing something that I think you wish you were doing or you might have tried, like I said. And we want to hear all about it. Nicole, you started, though, from an unlikely place, if I were to tell this story. Weren't you a school teacher?
I was. So I was a high school science teacher for 13 years. I taught earth science, AP environmental science, and earth science in Spanish. And you never know kind of what's going to help you in the future and help you kind of down the line in different entities. So that is where we began.
Really? And does it help you on the day-to-day? How are you using science and Spanish in your real estate life?
Sure. So I pretty much am now somewhat of a GC, right? We're flipping. We got 11 contracts in the last 30 days. So, wow. So we're doing about 4 to 5 a month renovations, full renovations. We're also doing construction for other people and kind of just being resourceful, right? So anything that comes our way, we're very creative and strategic about trying to monetize whatever comes our way. And so the majority of my crews speak Spanish only.
Yep, got it.
So I'm speaking Spanish on a daily basis. It definitely helps. And science, I'd like to think that perhaps one day in the future, we're going to do something with sustainability and essentially green design or green architecture. Yeah. So, I'm a person that's constantly growing and building and looking for new opportunities and ideas. And so I think that somewhere in the future, there is going to be a place of sustainability mixed with construction and or building, new construction, development, something in those lines. So we'll see.
Have you 3D printed a home yet?
I have not. I think they're kind of ugly, personally.
Well, it definitely hasn't arrived at the beauty side of things, but I love the concept. I think our world is testing the right things.
I agree. And I know right now the cost doesn't translate. So it's just way more expensive at the moment. I do think that might shift over time as everything does. But right now I think it's just a matter of sticking with what we have and continuing to be open-minded to the future.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, you said you have 11 contracts right now. that terminology, of course, my mind's on real estate and you being the person who can flip properties, but you mentioned you're a GC too. Are those contracts, you're a hired gun coming in and renovating things, or do you have contracts on properties in a way where you're taking possession so you can then flip and resell?
Yeah, so we got 11 contracts just in the last 30 days, but those are all things that we're purchasing. So we buy houses within, some houses we have to close in 7 days, some houses, whatever they need, their timeline. And so those are literal contracts that we're going to be purchasing, most of which is actually going to close probably in the upcoming week. So we have about 7 closings next week. I think we're buying 5 and selling 2. And, a couple of them are sporadically over the next month or so after that. So we're constantly getting new deals. We're really over time slowing down on construction with other people because it's just not fun.
Been there. Yep.
Yeah, it's not fun, but, and we have enough business as is right now on the renovation side, on the purchasing side. So
Sure.
We'll probably kind of stay in that lane and continue to grow outside of that. Do some other vertically integrated companies like roofing company and siding, that type of stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. So when it comes to buying for your portfolio, it sounds like a lot of these are with a flip mentality. Are you retaining any properties? Are you renting anything out?
Sure. So we have, I have 8 rental properties currently. And we're actually buying another one next week. So
Okay.
essentially when we get a deal that comes into our system, we have all these different exit strategies, and, it's all about analysis and determination of what's going to be the best for that particular deal. Right. And depending on, what everything in the scenario, right? The seller, the area, the location, the price we're getting it for, the amount of renovation, the crime rates in the area, we're going to kind of make a decision on which exit strategy we're going to do. And so we retain any of the properties that we can 100% BRRRR. Do you know what a BRRRR is?
No. What's that?
So a BRRRR is something I think you and your listeners, actually everybody can benefit from. And it's a pretty fascinating concept. So we buy houses cash. And I think people think that means that we have like $10-20 million sitting in the bank. It's not true, right? We are using our resources. We use hard money lenders. We use private money lenders to be able to use capital from other people that are going to then make 12% returns, right? So any of your listeners are interested in 12% returns, we'd love to partner with them. We'd love to use them, right? But so we take our investors, we use that money to purchase the house cash. And because we're purchasing it cash, A, we can close very quickly. B, we can, not have the same type of contingencies and kind of pain for the seller. And then we're able to get better pricing, right? Because people hear cash, they know that comes with an easier process and a faster process. And so, so we buy the houses cash, which again, you don't need your own. We renovate the property. So buy is BRRRR, BRRRR, buy, renovate, rent. So we fill the tenants, might be Section 8, depending on where you are. In New York, we typically only do Section 8 or other government programs because it's so tenant friendly. In other states, it doesn't matter because they're shorter eviction, rules and norms. And then we rent it, we refinance it, and we repeat. So then we have an initial hard money loan or private money loan with higher interest, right? So our hard money, we pay somewhere around 9 to 10%. Our private money, we pay somewhere between 10 and 12%. And then, you want to refinance back into a traditional loan. Now, I didn't use my money to buy the house. I used my partner's money or my bank, my hard money lender's money. Okay. And then I renovated it. So I forced equity into that property. I increased the valuation of that property. Once I increased that valuation, now I can do a cash out refinance to a traditional rental product, with a lower interest rate, somewhere around the 7% right now. It's about 1% higher than a traditional 30-year mortgage, or you're going to be your rental loans. And primarily are based on the rental income in comparison to what you need to pay. And you can do a cash out refinance of 75% of the new value of the house. Right. So because I forced equity in that house, I raised the value, and I was able to do a 75% cash out refinance. If that 75% covers all the costs that I put in to making that property happen, the purchase, closing costs, the renovation, and the refinance costs, then it's a perfect BRRRR. And so I take out all my cash. I own the house free, $0 in. And for me, I'll only do a perfect BRRRR if I can still cash flow about $1,000 a month minimum per property.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. So
how often do you run into those? You're buying 11 right now. Are they all going to be BRRRRs?
Oh, no. So one of them are BRRRR. One of them is we're going to keep. We had another one and we just lost it. We had to close in 7 days, and this guy was like a competition, and it would have been another cool one, but we lost. But that's how it works, right? So some work, some don't work, and it's kind of it's a game to me. It's fun.
I like that. You said that you really believe it's a game.
It's fun. Yeah. It's all part of it's like a constant. Yeah. And I enjoy the craziness, not for everyone, but I enjoy it.
Well, you went from the classroom to high stakes real estate. So you like chaos.
I do like chaos. That's true. And it's kind of interesting, the comparison of the two. And now that you say it, I haven't thought about it that way, but you're right. They are.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah. Well, you're welcome for the comparison. I was going to kind of go backwards a little bit because your time in school, there's a lot of people who plan on staying in education. They love it long term. Of course, we talked before this interview, so I know that you didn't talk down about your time as an educator. It doesn't sound like it was the worst thing ever, and you did 13 years. What led you to test real estate at all? And why did you leave to now double, triple, quadruple down on your life in the real estate space?
So I loved teaching, right? I loved the kids. I love helping to make people better people and pushing people to be better people. And kind of bring out the best in people, right? Making people realize and believe that they can do anything. And I loved what I taught, right? I love science. I love rocks. The name of my company is Gem Hunter Property Solutions because I love hunting for gems, for crystals. Literally crystals. My house is like covered in crystals. I know you wouldn't believe me, but here, this is on my desk right here, right next to me.
Oh, that's pretty.
But so I did thoroughly enjoy it. I hate the bureaucracy of it and the politics and it's terrible. It's disgusting. Everything outside of that classroom and the kids is pretty awful at this point. It's really kind of sad what they've done and how teachers are being treated. Now, that being said, I loved being a teacher, just not the everything else that surrounded it, right?
You get it.
And so it's definitely like a convoluted question, right? So I've always been interested in real estate. I truly think that I truly think my kind of weird desire to be involved in real estate stems from when I was in 4th grade, which is crazy. And I haven't really realized this until the last few months. My favorite teacher in school is my 4th grade teacher. Her name was Mrs. Char. I hope she's watching this. Felicia Char, if you're watching this, contact me, please. It was her first year teaching. She was like 23 years old, 22 years old. She was amazing. This powerful woman who, it was just awesome. She did things outside the box. She wasn't customary. It was very obvious she was new and had totally different types of thoughts. And so, we had this amazing year. Everybody loved her. She loved us. And at the end of the year, she told us that she was leaving teaching after her first year. And she was leaving teaching to work. Her father owned large apartment buildings in the city or in Brooklyn. And she was leaving teaching to go into real estate, to run the apartments and to run the rental buildings. And I was a very intelligent kid. I was definitely like ahead of my time and intelligence wise. And I think that it just stuck, like this person that I looked up to and respected and, obviously related to as a young female. I was doing something. I was like, well, intrigued. And a fourth grader shouldn't even know what an apartment rental landlord, shouldn't even know what those terms are, right? Like you'd think it would take years and years for that to be a relationship. But somehow I learned this in fourth grade. And I think it just kind of stuck in my brain. And then I'd say my mother was dating a gentleman who was also an earth science teacher, my first few years teaching. And he had 7 or 8 rental properties, all in Long Island. And he was an earth science teacher. He just bought right. He was smart. He was a landlord, collecting income. He loved crystals also. So we had a lot in common. And he was just a silly guy. I really enjoyed him. So I looked up to him also, and he was doing it. So I'm like, oh, well, Barry's doing it. I can do it. And so Barry kind of like, I'd always wanted to do it, but then Barry like made it feasible. I had somebody to talk to. I had somebody to bounce ideas off. And one of my takeaways today is going to be that who you're surrounding yourself by and who you're making sure that you have that kind of personal board of trustees, if you will. Right.
Yeah.
And so, or board of advisors, whatever you want to call it. But, so Barry was one of those people for me. And so I bought my first house with an apartment in it. And I had 2 of my roommates or two of my best friends living in my side of the house. So 4-bedroom house on my side and then a 1-bedroom apartment. So one of my best friends living in the apartment. I was like 26, 27 years old. And then 2 of my best friends living on my side, they were paying the mortgage. They were, covering all the costs. And I was just taking my school income, which is decent in New York, and putting it in the bank and saving money, right? And building the equity in the house and saving the money. And then a couple years went by. I bought another rental property. Didn't BRRRR. This is kind of before I knew what BRRRR was. And just traditional 20% down, like normal stuff. And then during COVID, I was sitting home. You could only eat so many cookies and drink so much wine before you're bored as a kind of a go-getter, right? I've always been a hustler, go-getter.
It lasted about 3 days for me. I get it.
Exactly. I think that's probably about the time it lasted for me. And I started looking for real estate investing, like education. I was like, I want to learn how to flip a house. And so I started looking for programs online that would teach me how to flip a house. And
did you go to those like seminars and stuff?
So I didn't go to, it was COVID. There were no seminars, but I scoured the internet for I'm a very analytical person for every real estate investing kind of school guru, like whatever. Figured out that Fortune Builders is kind of the Harvard, or at that point was like the Harvard of real estate investing school. I spent a pretty penny, joined Fortune Builders, and they taught me how to really analytically flip a house with a conservative mindset and be able to really do it. And that's where it all started during COVID.
Wow. So conservative mindset, that's interesting. Tell me more about the conservative mindset. That seems like it must be important.
Yeah. And I think most people would think it's like a contradiction, like it's contradictory. Like it's, how could you be in real estate investing and have a conservative mindset? And the answer is I'm actually super conservative and like risk adverse, which is interesting, right? But the vital part of real estate investing, in my opinion, is being a crazy analyzer, right? The amount of time that we spend analyzing each deal, we make about 6 offers a day, my team, right? I have a team of about 6 full-time employees at this point. We make, I would say, at least 6 offers a day. And every offer has to be completely, precisely analyzed. Everything that we analyze has to be our process is very conservative, right? So if we think, so ARV means after repair value. So essentially it's the price we're going to be able to sell the house for after we renovate it, right? And so if we think the ARV is 650, we put it in at 600. Yep. And if we think that it's going to cost us $80,000 to renovate the house, we put in $100,000. If we think that it's going to take 5 months to buy, renovate, and sell the house, we put in 7 months. So every portion of our numbers is conservative, so that at the end of the day, if the deal works at those numbers and we estimate we're going to make $75,000, and then we get it for, we sell it for $650 in 6 months or 5 months and so on and so forth, and only spend $80,000. Now all of a sudden we're making 120 instead of, right. So we like to, and then the only thing that we're really worried about is if the market shifts. And if the market shifts, we always have that buffer built in of, well, this is, our return on investment has to be a minimum of 10%. So that means that's allowing for a 10% shift in the market. And which the market has really never, ever shifted by 10% in super short period of time.
Yeah.
Here at least. So, even if that happens, the worst of the worst, 2008, that's what it was. And then that's built in. And so we break even,
Right. You don't lose your money at that point. I like the idea of having that, in our contracts, we refer to it as a fudge factor. Where it's like if something goes south, you've got to have at least 10, maybe 15% factoring for the idea that you got it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So that's how we're conservative, and we're just continually trying to grow and push and be better every day. 1%.
What do you look for when you see a property? How are you finding them, and what are you looking for? What goes, ooh, I should learn more about this?
So, we look for properties that are distressed so we can get them under market value. That's really all that matters. Now, the distressor can come in so many different forms, right? So the distressor can come in a necessity of time, right? When somebody puts something on the market, it's typically going to take a higher amount of time in order to sell it. The distressor can come in, somebody needs money right now. It can be completely destroyed, the house, right? Just bad condition. There might be foundation issues. There could be CO or permit issues or violations. Maybe there's tenants in the house. Could be grandma moved into a nursing home and they can't handle paying the double payment. So we're essentially providing a service, and that service is our ability to move quickly or slowly, to help with people, all facets, right? So we'll help people find a new home to live in for their tenants, for them. We'll help them with the moving process. They don't have to clear the house out. So, all these different strategies or ways that we can provide value essentially beyond just the dollar. And that's really all we look for. So it's not, you know what I mean? Like if there's motivation and they're willing to sell it below market value, then it's going to work for us, right? We're going to be able to make something.
Yeah, that's great. So you said you don't have to clean it out. Have you ever been a part of those junk outs?
I mean, when you say been a part of, what do you mean by that?
Well, I have firsthand. So I don't talk about this very much, but I ran my friend's construction and general contracting company for about 4 years. And during that time, he was involved in a number of real estate deals where it was flips. I was in charge of making sure the craftsmen were there. But before a craftsman could get to the job, there were junk outs. Oh, yes. So there I am in my Red Wing, steel tipped shoes, making sure whatever we're stepping on doesn't get through these shoes. Oh, there's one thing about our studio. Could you hear that? There's, that something's happening. But yeah, so I remember just the stuff we would see. But every once in a while, it was like treasure hunting. You know, you open a cabinet, you're like, oh, that's something. And so I always treasured that one little moment where you would open the container expecting more of the worst, because most of it's pretty bad. But then there's something where it's like, I can't believe this is from 1902 and it's really cool and it's a part of history or whatever it is. Do you ever have those moments?
So I try to take something from every house that we flip, because there's always weird, cool stuff.
Right.
But the most recent, pretty wild thing we have coming up is a house we actually haven't closed on yet. There is, I wish I knew the value, but a crazy collection of World War II, primarily Nazi memorabilia, which I know it's Nazi, whatever, but it's still like a piece of history. It is, it's
well,
like,
it is. And if we forget our past, then, God help us, because we won't remember the signs for the future. So yeah. I'm all for collecting it, provided you don't revere the wrong side.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's just like fascinating. I mean, there's helmets, there's knives, there's like the whatever the
swastikas, all that.
What they put on their uniforms, like
all the medals,
it's just wild stuff. So that's like the most recent crazy thing that we've seen, and like it's lots of guns. It's just wild. It's wild. But yeah, we've found lots of weird, cool stuff. I'm never a part of, like, I usually come in, go look through everything, take what I want, and then I walk away, and I'm not there.
So are you purchasing that house full with all those items?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You may need to bring a historian in before you go too crazy. See if you can just, because that type of thing, it's almost like you're going to have a responsibility to the world.
100%.
Yeah. And also you're in New York and there's guns in there. So that's going to be an interesting conversation.
The guns are already gone. The guns are gone. They were taken. We told they had to empty them out. We didn't want to.
Yeah. That's helpful. Yeah. Good for you.
Absolutely.
I couldn't imagine having to deal with that one. That would be a headache that could cost you the value of all of your hard-earned investment, because that would take forever.
What?
Dealing with the firearms to try to clear through.
Yeah, no, you don't want to buy a house with guns.
No. It's a different world these days. I think 30, 40 years ago. So my family is a real estate family. When my grandmother passed, she had, I believe, 81 rental properties.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She had. Yeah. Grandma was awesome like that. And she had one farm with 49 acres. She had a commercial rental property where her own office was, but she had 5 or 6 tenants. And then the rest of them were all largely low income Section 8 across Rochester, New York. And
interesting.
Brilliant job.
Badass.
Oh yeah. And she had bought and sold a lot of property as well. So over the course of her career, I'm sure it was over 200 properties. Mm-hmm. But when she was done buying and selling in her early 90s, she settled on those 81 properties, and that was that. It was
good little awesome thing to pass on to your kids and grandkids, right?
Which is exactly what she did. Yep. Yeah. Actually, true story. And this should be a bucket list goal for you. I don't know if you should be this eccentric, but when her home was being cleaned out and she was being moved into an assisted living home, our family was finding things in the house, right? Same kind of junk out. Hers wasn't crazy. It's just she collected nice things.
Sure.
And some of them she wanted to keep and put into storage. Some of them she wanted in her place. And some of them she had forgotten about. And the forgot about ones were by far and away the craziest. Her sock drawer had plastic bags from grocery stores full of diamonds, rubies, raw gold, raw silver. She had precious gems and metals everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. And so if that tells you anything about rental properties, because that was her only line of business. She also was a realtor in the 70s and 80s, helping people buy and sell. She was a broker, actually.
Sure.
So she had that income, but the real money was from the houses. She literally just had drawers full of precious gems and metals.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, kind of cool.
The goal is to just keep building, right? We buy 3-4 a year, and each now we're just really we're trying to buy 3 or 4 families only.
Good for you.
So
Have you started cutting those up? I know New York State has room, and I don't know if it's New York State or if it's federal actually, but there's Section 8 opportunity specifically. I know in New York it's being done where you can take a multifamily, and then as long as you deadbolt every room, you can have multiple tenants in one unit, separate bills.
Really?
Oh yeah, I've got a resource for you. We're doing this live on the show. I'm going to introduce you to a good friend of mine who is up to 27 addresses. But like, let's take a 2-family, for instance. That's 2 addresses. Unit A has got 3 bedrooms. Unit B's got 3 bedrooms. He had 8 separate tenants in there because he would take the living room and turn it, put a closet in, put a door in.
So it's called an SRO, right? It's called single room occupancy. So I have an SRO in Connecticut with 13 bedrooms, 13 tenants.
There you go. He was making
Section 8 does not allow bedroom rentals. Each tenant has to have a kitchen. So I'm intrigued and interested to be connected to your friend, because if he found a loophole around it, I would love to know it.
What I can tell you about Rich is he's one of the most ethical guys I've ever met. So if he found a way, he found a legit way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That would be awesome. If you
This is exciting. I'm going to make this happen. We're going to connect you today.
That sounds awesome. That sounds perfect.
Yeah, I love these shows. These are always fun.
Yes.
So what's the next step for you? I know you're going to keep buying and selling. What's the vision? I mean, you were a teacher. Now you're in real estate. You're growing in real estate. You're buying a lot of property, which is really cool. What is the 5-year plan or the 10-year plan? What's the business look like?
So I didn't leave teaching until last June. So I got my first 2 years that I started, I probably flipped like 2 houses a year roundabout. Mm-hmm. And then middle of year 3, I joined another coaching program, Tiffany and Josh High. It's called Results Driven. And it's a scaling program, right? It's a mentoring coaching program that teaches you how to build a business, right? And so I went from a solopreneur at that point to now I have 6 full-time employees. I'm actually in the middle of hiring a 7th. And the ultimate goal is to essentially remove myself and to continue to buy more businesses. So I would like to. So I actually just joined another coaching program too that's all about business acquisitions. Mm-hmm. And so I think the goal is to buy a couple of businesses that I'm able to put somebody in the CEO seat and be very passive. And so almost like the businesses will act as passive income, just like a house can, because I'm not really working in the business. I'm just overseeing it. And so I think the ultimate goal is to have a few businesses all producing kind of passive income and be working, 30 hours a week and
nice.
And making a bunch of money and continue to grow my passive portfolio. So, the goal is to not work the way I'm working currently, which is a lot. Sure. And just continue to have more and more to pass on to my family one day, and to be able to let my family do what they want to do and have complete full freedom, which at this point we pretty much have, but you can always kind of be, I really want to buy a Christmas tree truck, like 1947
really
Ford pickup truck. Yeah.
I have a friend customizing a 51 Dodge pickup truck right now, but he's putting an EV engine in or a motor so that it can be completely electric because he wanted to see if he could. And I know Bill will pull it off.
That's crazy.
Yep. So it'll be a silent, battery-powered 1951 Dodge.
Whoa. That's wild. Yeah. That's wild.
I like that. A Christmas tree truck. Are you going to put a Christmas tree on it and kind of make that a thing?
Probably. Listen, if I get a Christmas tree truck, then I think I have to put a Christmas tree in the truck during Christmas season,
Well, that's every local parade needs a Christmas tree truck. Exactly. I think the Children's Hospital needs a delivery of a Christmas tree with a Christmas tree truck.
That would be fun.
I see it.
I know.
That's a good goal. I like that goal.
I know. So, I mean, that's like a, 6-month goal, the Christmas tree truck, maybe not even, but yeah, my 10-year goal is really that I'm not really working. I'm working 20 hours a week and semi-retired and living off my passive investments that include businesses. I think anybody can do it. I think that a lot of people have limiting beliefs, and it's
so
just
talk to me about that. Talk to me about that, because you're in a lot of coaching, and you mentioned a very coached term, which is self-limiting beliefs. And so talk to me about coaching and mindset.
Yeah. So I think probably what sets me apart is my mindset, is my lack of whenever I come up with an idea or something and I go to my family, I go to my best friends and I say, oh, listen to this awesome idea. I'm going to do it. Like, it's going to be awesome. And they're like, oh, but what about this? Oh, but what about that? And I think most of us have this experience, right? We come up with things we want to do, changes we want to make in our life, big goals, and people are like, oh, well, this is what's going to be, what about this? What about that? You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't make sense, or that, it's not going to work. And so many people allow other people's limiting beliefs squash their dreams and squash their own ability to overcome challenges. And so when people say that to me, and or in general, right, a roadblock occurs. Everything we do in life is going to have roadblocks, no matter what it is, right? If I tell you the roadblocks I dealt with this week, you'd fall on the floor. I'm not even going to bring you there. But a roadblock hits you and you can't say, oh crap, like, yeah, I can't do this. What am I going to do? Like, you have to figure out how. Okay, you have a roadblock. How do we go? Do we go around it? Do we go over it? Do we go under it? There's always going to be 3 different ways, 2 different ways to overcome it. It's just about which one is going to be the best, most analytical, most thought out, and most monetarily makes sense way to get around that roadblock. And there's always going to be a way over the roadblock. So people don't see it as that. People see, oh, I can't do it. This happened. And I'm like, so figure it out. Like, what are you talking about? You can't do it. Right. And so that was just innate in me from when I was a kid. I was an athlete growing up. I was a D1 athlete in college. And I don't know if it was that. I don't know if it was the Thomas the Train. I think I can. Or my parents just instilling in me that I can do anything I want to do, period. Or it was just me. I don't know. But, I think limiting beliefs hold everybody back, or hold so many people back, and they shouldn't. And people, for a long time, I allowed my family's limiting beliefs to not allow me to move forward in some other entities and things I had wanted to do. And during COVID, I said, you know what? I'm not going to allow it anymore. These are your limiting beliefs. Keep your limiting beliefs to yourself. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it well. And so I think that is, a huge coaching and mentoring and education allows you to go into things with an educated mindset so that you're going to make less mistakes. You're going to go in more prepared and be more successful. And so there's going to be less roadblocks, and B, you're going to be able to see past the roadblocks or know how to get around the roadblocks better. And so you're inevitably going to be more successful. And I think even people have limiting beliefs surrounding coaching and mentoring. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do it, but like whatever. But that's more limiting beliefs, right? If you want to do something, do it. Don't let limiting beliefs hold you back. And anybody can do anything they put their mind to. It's just a matter of believing in yourself, putting the time and effort in, and following a process and a system to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, I feel like self-awareness, the way you're describing it, is really critical too, because there's all those roadblocks, knowing that they will come, being ready, like just know that challenges come. Nothing's easy. The good stuff is never easy.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So, and with all the coaching, you had mentioned kind of at the outset of this that one of the takeaways that our audience should walk away with is something to do with surrounding yourself with the right people. And it sounds like coaching is one of those elements for you, that is choosing the right people.
Yeah. And it's not just coaching. It's recognizing your own limitations, not limiting, but your own limitations, right? What am I good at? What am I not so good at? How can I surround myself by people that are good at the things I may not be good at, and that can help bring out the best in me and take the things I am good at and push me to be better, right? And so, yes, that might be coaches. That might be, finding your team, finding your team of advisors that you go to. Who do you go to for advice in this scenario, finding the people that are the best at that thing and holding on to them, showing them your care, your appreciation, and providing value to them however you can, so that you can continue to work with them and use them as those advisors and those people. And so coaches is one of those things, right? Believing and understanding how important they are in your life, I think, is huge for an entrepreneur that's in any phase of entrepreneurship.
That's awesome. So top 3 resources that somebody listening to this right now should go to try to unlock the real estate journey for them. They haven't done it. They've been on the edge. They've done a little internet research. Where would you send them to get ready to hit the go button?
I mean, that's a good question. I would definitely go start listening to Bigger Pockets podcast. It is a incredible real estate podcast that teaches in so many different, a lot about all of this, and just shows so many different people and their journeys, and that anything is possible. So that'd be one. I would say read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then let's see, a third thing, place there where people can go.
Is there a coaching program that they should just get into? Is there a favorite of yours?
The problem is, so Fortune Builders is no longer accepting new clients. They, I think they're shifting towards retirement, and they have a huge flipping company. So, I think their coaching days are done, semi-done.
Okay. Yep.
And my other coaching program is for scaling. So you can't be
You can't be just starting.
No.
All right. So tell me this, Grant Cardone, yes, no, what do you think?
I don't have enough experience of him or with him to be able to, he's very creative finance specific, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So it just depends on what you want to get into. If you're, excuse me, looking to wholesale, looking to flip, there's all different whatnot. But I'd be happy to talk to anybody about different things and options if they wanted to contact me, for sure.
Well, and how do we contact you? Where do we go, Nicole?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, I'm Nicole Cooper, spelled just like that. Gem Hunter Property Solutions with a G. Gem is spelled GEM for those people who don't know how to spell gem, because a lot of people spell with a J.
Really?
Yeah. So Gem Hunter Property Solutions with an S at the end on Facebook and Instagram. I can certainly give you my email address or phone number if anybody contacts you and is looking for.
You got it. If somebody's looking for you, I can definitely connect them. Not a problem. And I owe you a couple of great connections. I got it. I have one that I teased and one that you're going to find out off air about in just a couple of seconds. You ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Nicole, thank you for being on the show. It's always an honor to sit with somebody who has been on a journey like yours, because not only did I just learn a whole bunch about your industry, and it gives me a little bit of a boost because I'm not in any extra property right now and I need to be, but 2, my goodness, it's inspirational. So thank you for being on. And unicorns, you know how I roll. I have no clue who's on the next episode. All I can promise is that our next guest is going to be somebody that I believe in, that I know that we've vetted as somebody who's got value, not only in my world, but really for you and your journey. So I hope you're getting inspiration. I hope you're getting education. And I really want you to connect with us on Facebook. Go to the Bootstrapped Unicorns Entrepreneurship and Marketing group on Facebook and just join. There's a little 3-question form. We make sure you're not a bot. We make sure you're actually in business for yourself where you intend to be. And then we remind you that we're not selling to each other in there. The reason why you would join that group is you can ask questions and get answers. And when people ask questions, maybe you can give answers from your expert opinion, your expertise in your career, whatever it is. iron sharpens iron. That's what we're doing in that group. So I expect to see you in there. Come hang out. And until next time, why don't you get back to work?